Hello everyone, welcome to the 10 Investor channel. So every weekend I do go through a lot of stocks. I have 4 scanners. I run through all the stocks on all my scanners, and I do pick a few stocks to share it with all of you. And I've been doing this regularly for quite some time. Now, I do have a full-time job, so it has been my routine every weekend. And if you do also have a full-time job, and if you've been struggling, to make money in markets, all I suggest is you need to find one scanner, one strategy, one entry technique, exit technique, and how do you pyramid or how do you add on to your positions. Now, this is all you need to know. I need to follow one person every weekend, or if you just follow one person, any channel or any Twitter handle, I need to follow that person with full discipline, and then try to find what they do and try to follow them, and you will eventually make money. So that's how I've done it. I've read a lot of books over the last many years. I've tried to find a simple strategy, and I've tried to make money in the last few years. I follow CCI, and that has been my key indicator for all my scanners, and I follow simple higher highs and higher lows to make money. So in case you're struggling to make money, and if you've not been profitable in the last few years, especially we've been in a very strong bull market since 2020, we've been not great in the last 1 year or so, but if you still not made money in the last few years, then it's definitely time to think about which person you're following, what books you have to read, and try to decide that in the probably next few months, and stick to that one person and try to follow. So if you want to follow me, definitely follow. There's a lot of learning videos for you, and I've been doing that regularly of late, and there's a lot of information that you can use and you can become a profitable trader. Okay, so leaving that aside, today's video I have 4 stocks for you. All are excellent investment picks, fundamentally very good, and also technically looking very good. There's one stock which has really looking good, which has given a 15-year breakout, and you might be interested in that pick. Okay, so let's take a look at both the 4 stocks, and we'll see what we have in store. Now, as always, I'm going to start off with the Nifty Outlook and then going to discuss the stocks. Okay, so let's take a first look at Nifty and see what Nifty has done in the last week. So here in front of me I have the Nifty weekly charts, and if you see here, we've had a strong green candle this week. Probably not a very strong green candle. This is probably a very strong green candle, but this has wicks on both on the top and the bottom, right? So there has been some sell-off because of which we couldn't really sustain on those higher levels, but we did dip in the beginning of the week, and then we went all the way up and we closed very strongly this week. So for me, that doji followed by this candle shows some signs of bullishness, some signs of bottom, and this is a major support for us, and we might head higher from here. So also remember, since this low that we made in June 2022, we rallied quite a lot, and then we have retested the 38.2% of Fibonacci retracement, and for me, until we don't break this channel over here, we are good to head higher from here. Okay, so that's the weekly outlook. I'm going to zoom in a bit into the daily charts for you. And the daily charts, if you see, as I mentioned, we had this resistance here. We went up towards resistance last week, but then we kind of got rejected, and we went down again. Now, US markets have closed very badly on Friday, so we might see a gap down on our markets. I'm not sure exactly if we'll see a gap down or not, but whatever it is, for me, this line over here is a very strong support zone. So 17,200 odd levels is where we might take, even if we gap down, we might see reversal and we might come back up again. Now, in the worst case, we might head towards levels of 17,000 again, test this, retest this channel support, and then we might again head higher and from here, right? So remember, the US markets have been very bad. So unless the US markets kind of settle down, we might go sideways and kind of outperform on days when market is not really going down in the US, right? So that's how we should be looking forward. We have been outperforming quite a lot, and I think we might continue that performance going forward as well. So that's my take on Nifty Outlook. So we have to take out this major resistance, and only then we're going to see again fresh highs over here. Probably we'll cross that levels only when we take out the resistance over here. So until then, we might go sideways, and probably I'm expecting some good returns in the month of October. Okay, so that's the Nifty Outlook. Do let me know what you think of Nifty. I'm sure a lot of you trade Nifty. I don't trade because I don't have time. But if you do trade intraday, do let me know your views as well. So let's take a look at the stocks. The first stock today we're going to discuss is a very, very interesting stock from the Mahindra Group, Mahindra CIE Automotive Limited. And this stock is a very interesting stock. So fundamentals, I'm not going to touch fundamentals because I wanted to cover 4 stocks. I don't have the time to cover fundamentals also in this video. But let's take a look at the technicals first. Now, this is a beautiful monthly chart setup. Now, for me, horizontal resistances are my favorite setups. So if I see something like this on any time frame, I'm going to take that trade and I'm going to see what it does. I'm going to ride the trend and see where it goes. Now, this is a monthly chart of Mahindra CIE, and this has given the highest weekly close in 15 years. Now, since 2008, the stock has not given returns for investors. So if you invested 2008, you did not make money. You probably would have broken even here, here, or here. But finally, everyone who invested since 2008 are in profits for the first time in 15 years. Now, that's a very, very good positive sign for this stock, right? And we also seen a very strong green candle here in the weekly charts, unlike the previous candles over here. We had some long wicks, but there are no wicks here finally, and we had a very strong weekly closing, right? Now that's for me an excellent sign, and this is a horizontal breakout, and usually when a stock breaks out from such horizontal resistances, we are going to see some really good returns going forward in this stock. Now this also might be the last time you're going to see Mahindra in the levels of 200, or I don't think we'll ever see 200 levels again in Mahindra if we break out from here, and if we can close this month also on a very good note, right? So for me, it's an excellent stock. Switching to that this zone over here, I'm going to lower time frames just to daily charts and see what we are seeing on daily charts, right? So daily charts, we had a beautiful horizontal breakout here as well, and we had these long wicks here, but finally we managed to close on a very good note on the daily charts as well, right? So I was actually worried here, and I wanted a very good close. That's why I never talked about Mahindra CI till now. And even though it came in my scan a couple of times, I did not really get into it because of these sell-offs that I saw in the last few months or so, right? But for me, overall, we had a beautiful breakout here, and we have been trending well. We kind of had a shakeout here, and finally we had a good closing here. Now that closing is what gave me the confidence to go ahead with this as the first stock for this week, along with the weekly charts as well. Weekly chart also had a good closing, right? So what I do is buy the stock at the current market price at around 317 with a stop loss of 260. Now this is quite a conservative stop loss for me. Now if you're really aggressive, you could also keep the daily low here as a stop loss and go and buy that, right? But for me, I don't want to really keep that as stop loss for you, because if you're new, you might get stopped out and you might be really worried, right? So keep the stop loss over here, which is a swing low, which is a pretty safe stop loss, and that is around 18% stop loss, and we're going to look for targets of 500. Now why 500? That's a very simple take over here. So from this low, if you see 150 odd levels to 300, that's 150 points. So close to 160, 170 points. So I'm adding 160, 170 to this. I get around 480, 470 levels. Now I'm just rounding off to the nearest round number, which is 500. Now remember, round numbers are major resistances. If you've read Edwards and Mackey book, you would understand that round numbers, levels like 500, 1000 are major resistances, right? So that's why I kept the target of 500 here, which brings us to a risk reward of 3 times the risk that we're taking. Okay, so that's the first stock, and I was always say this could be the beginning of a very long-term uptrend in Mahindra. So CIA, so do not just book profits at 20-30%. You might get much higher returns, and try to trail a stop loss with a super trend or with the moving average. So that's the first stock for today I want to discuss. The second stock today is Godfrey Phillips. Now this is a tobacco company. It's one of the major tobacco company sellers in India, and this is the long-term chart that I have in front of me. So always try to do a long-term multi-time frame analysis. First look at monthly charts, then weekly charts and daily charts. I also did a video on that, do check it out. But for me, this stock is in a long-term uptrend, right? It's also trending in long-term uptrend since 2000 levels. Since 2000, it has been going in a very long-term uptrend, right? So on the monthly charts, we are in a long-term uptrend. We haven't broken that previous swing low on monthly charts, but on the weekly charts and daily charts, we've been going sideways here. And if you look at the last few months, right, we're forming a nice kind of a VCP pattern, or you can also call this a symmetrical triangle consolidation. If you consider this and this, it's a symmetrical triangle consolidation as well. So if we break out above those levels of 1400 over there, right, if we break out above this trend line, which I presume we might break out in the next couple of weeks or in the next couple of months, then we're going to see a massive rally in Godfrey Phillips towards the upper end of the channel, or even towards the towards the middle or upper end of the channel. Right now, this is a excellent setup. The stock has not done really much in the last 6-7 years, right? So that's the monthly chart. Now zooming into the daily chart, again, I'm looking at just the last couple of months here, last 6 months or so. And if you look at here, we've had this nice resistance over here, right? And we have this beautiful trend line support as well. So we reverse multiple times from here. So that support for me is a very important support on the downside, right? On the upside, this is a major resistance. So we might go sideways again for some time. So don't expect the stocks that I cover might take some time to give returns, a few weeks or so, because they are mostly on the weekly charts and monthly charts. So they might have already rallied a bit. So you might have to have some patience to trade the stocks that I trade, right? So here, once we break out this level, then we're going to see some good rally, right? But don't expect an immediate breakout next week. We might consolidate sometime. So this is an investment pick and also position trading pick. So have some patience with me. So how would I trade this? Buy the current market price at 1300 levels with a stop loss of 1050. Now 1050 is this support over here. Now, as I said, if you do not have that much of patience, then what you could do is wait for a short consolidation over here and try to buy around the swing low over there as well. Or you could also keep support around 1120 odd level over here, right? So that's the stop loss around 20% with this stop loss around the trend line support, and I'm going to look for targets of 2000 first, which is the middle of the channel, and then 4000, which is the top end of the channel, right? So that brings us to twice the risk or 10 times the risk if you're considering a target of 4000 levels. Now these are the first two stocks I wanted to cover. Now if you are new to my channel and if you do like my analysis, don't forget to subscribe to my channel and don't forget to like the video while we move on to the next two stocks. Okay, so the next two stocks is Jubilant Ingravia. Now if you did not trade with me sometime last June, July is when I did my live Trade with Trendline Investor series, and this was one of the biggest winners for us, and this has come back in my scanner after almost a year and a half, right? So we exited this stock somewhere on that level when we broke out there, and then since then we had a crazy move down, and we are forming a nice base for the last 8 months or so. Right now this is an accumulation stage for me, and if we are trying to see a breakout over here, now also we are trying to attempt a higher high on the weekly charts. And if we kind of break out from here, then we are probably going to head to levels of this middle channel over here, and then eventually to the upper end of the channel if the company does well and if the market stays well, right? So volumes also have come in the last few weeks. So for me, this is an excellent setup, excellent company as well from a fundamental perspective, and we might see new levels of around 700 to 800 levels in the coming days. So switching to daily chart, this is a nice downtrend, and we have formed this nice base over here, and we've had this nice breakout on the last Thursday with some nice good volumes. So for me, again, a beautiful setup on the daily charts, and we are probably entering a new uptrend over here. So what I do is buy the stock at current market price at 546, because we already had the breakout. Or if you're conservative, you can buy above that previous swing high as well, right? So around that, you can wait for that level to take out, and you can buy at that point as well, right? Stop loss at 460, which is around that zone over there. You buy with a stop loss there, or even you can keep a stop loss here. And if you're very conservative, you can also keep a stop loss around here. So stop loss, there's no fixed method for stop losses, right? You need to find what you're comfortable with and try to define your stop loss. If you're aggressive, you keep your stop loss there. If you're conservative, you keep your stop loss there, or even here as well, right? And now we are going to look for targets of 840 with a stop loss of around 15.75%, right? And which brings us to a target of 840, which is around 3 times the risk that we're taking. So 86 point stop loss, and we're looking for 840, which is around 300 points from here, right? Which is 3.5 times the risk that we're taking. So that's the third stock. And the final stock is quite different from the first three setups, because this stock has already run up quite a lot, which is high-tech pipes. And now it has been going sideways for the last 1 year or so. Now remember, the first three stocks that we have looked at are beginning a long-term uptrend, and that's why these three stocks are different from this stock. Now this stock has already been in a very strong uptrend, and it has been going sideways for the last 15 months or so, right? And we are seeing a very strong resistance around that zone, and if you take out that zone over there, then we're going to see some good upside from here, right? Now also, if you look at this last 780 candles here, this is a slight consolidation in the weekly charts, and we might see some breakout from here, and we might head higher from here, right? So zooming in a bit, this is a daily chart I'm looking at, and that's a zone that I want to really closely follow through, because I want a breakout from here. The stock hasn't given a breakout yet, so I want this level to be broken out over here, this zone over here. If it takes out that zone, then we can see some good rally over here, right? So what you can do is you can preempt the breakout, or you can wait for the breakout, but I'm going to preempt the breakout, and I'm going to give you a suggestion to buy current market price at 620. Keep a stop loss of 550, which is one of the tightest stop losses in the entire stock video that we are seeing today. Out of the four, this is the closest stop loss, which is around 11%. And we're going to look at targets of 1000, which is 5 times the risk that we're taking today, right? So these are the four stocks that I wanted to cover. Now, I want you to share some of the ideas that you want me to cover. For example, I've done a lot of videos on learning. So if you have some ideas, or if you have any questions on technical analysis, do let me know in the comment section. Tag me on Twitter also, and tell me that you want me to clarify that particular topic, and I can help you clarify, right? So before that, do share this video with your family and friends. I'll leave you here. Take care, stay safe and trade safe. I'll see you in another video. Until then, goodbye.